It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day and day duh in 4S Ranch. Greg and I went to Oasis Water Efficient Gardens this morning and got an entire truck full of more plants. The client was so funny. She comes out and she's looking around and she looked in the back of the truck and she said, "Are you going to use all those?" And you know, she's a repeat client. She should know that the answer to that is yes. I'm doing tapestry work here, and I'm really excited because it occurred to me when I started doing my little tapestry that I hadn't done this in a minute. But it's like riding a bike, as Terry says. You don't fall off. So I feel like it went really well. All of these cute little plants you're looking at right now are from Oasis Water Efficient Gardens, which is Ken Altman's nursery, and everything there is just looking so spectacular right now. So you know, I kind of look, and yeah, where you're at right now, that's Terry's tapestry. You know, look at that combo of Aeonium Sunburst and Aeonium Kiwi. That's a good one because the kiwi's diminutive and smaller than the sunburst. As you know, the sunburst is an arboretum, so they grow on those legs. A lot of you don't like the trunks, so planting kiwi underneath helps hide the trunks as those things start to grow. I finished up that, we connected that tapestry to the Aloe Cameronii. And remember, I've told you this in videos before, this is, in my opinion, one of the toughest of the aloes, and it turns really bright red when it's stressed. So we always plant these as cuttings. So we get them as rooted specimens, and then we just cut the heads off and stick them in the ground. Now what's going to happen is this is going to turn really, really bright red really quick. And we're not expecting any rain for, you know, like the rest of the year, so I'm not worried about it rotting or getting wet. And it's tough, and I've never lost a Cameronii. So that's how you do that. This Aloe Blue Elf, this is one that I really love working with. I like breaking it all up and taking individual pieces like this. Now you'll note that there are some roots on that. These roots could be trimmed up dramatically too, if you wanted. Doesn't really matter. This one turns kind of a mauve colored when it's stressed, but I like to break it up out of its can and work it as individuals to hug a boulder. It's just, I just think it's really pretty. It's kind of a signature for me. And I have 1, 2, 3 presentations of Aloe Blue Elf, which brings me to my next point, you know, as far as the process. When you are staging your plants, yesterday we went over some of the foundations that I had installed, and you recognize some of the bigger things. You know, the mystery aloe, the Mediopicta, another mystery aloe. I added today Portulacaria afravariegata. This is my spiller, and I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 presentations of that. This installation to me feels kind of like a 360. The client can enjoy it from back here, over here, over here, and as people are walking down the sidewalk or looking out their windows next door, from there. So I want it to be balanced from all sides, and that's something for you to think about too when you're doing your installations, is to make sure that you walk around and you look and see how they look. You don't want there to be a rear end. Yes, Hannah? Oh yes, Hannah says, how are we connecting the tapestries? So Terry did a masterful job of running this tapestry down here. I got started with one right here. I'm going to come up here and come down this side and spill it around those Euphorbia millii. So the tapestry will be thick through here, and then we'll have, you know, it's just, it feels like tentacles to me, you know, because you can't really tell in the video, but this is a fairly high mound. We've been, you know, since we relieve most of the plants of their soil, we have been dropping can after can after can of soil out of the cans, and this mound has gone up at least a foot since I saw you yesterday. Remember these aloe glauca? Cullen and Hannah went to town adding some cotyledon orbiculata long fingers and some aloe grenadiensis and a couple of Portulacaria afra, and I'm telling you, the texture is just off the chain. It looks absolutely gorgeous. While I was at Oasis pulling plants, Terry, Cullen, and Hannah laid out the courtyard in here too, and they did a masterful job of combining their plants. You know, when you look at these combinations, take note. You're going to notice that it's all about texture. You know, I don't really know about what color goes with what color. We just do what feels right. So we've got Euphorbia millii, Aloe grenadiensis, Crassula undulata. We've got some Aloe cameronii in here. And you might say, oh, well, those grenadiensis and cameronii are, you know, going to get really big, and this is just a little 2-foot bed. Remember who the daddy is. And succulents, unlike traditional shrubs and trees, can be dug up and moved around any old time. So when these outgrow their space, we'll simply dig them up, cut them up for parts, reset them, and have lots and lots of plants to share. Okay, so as part of the plan with this installation, I told the client that we would do a maintenance. We installed all that I'm showing you now 6 months ago, and I don't really know that there's a whole lot of maintenance to do. Our client is wonderful, and she's out here pulling weeds and deadheading, and she's just done a spectacular job of keeping up with things. This is kind of a shady microclimate and exposure, so I planted bromeliads, and they've done really well because we have them on micro sprayers. So this irrigation actually goes down into the cups, which is what bromeliads need. Now you can see that this little Echeveria Sahara isn't absolutely loving that. This is what I call pouting. Now this plant is clearly not dead, but it ain't happy. The leaves are kind of flat. It hasn't grown. It's probably about to die. It's still in there, but I think it's probably not appreciating all the water that it's getting and the lack of sunlight. So this plant, I will likely tomorrow when I do the maintenance, I'll move it and put something more suitable here. Remember we talked about the other day all of the soft skin plants that just got hammered with our hailstorm last week? All of this pithing is hail damage, but you know, already new growth is showing. And it's completely clean. See that? Look how beautiful. So, you know, we'll just have patience for a few months and all of that will be a thing of the past. Even the Portulacaria afra got pilled. Look at that. Pinged, whatever you want to call it. And you know, that's about it for us here in San Diego. That's all we have to complain about. Cullen was here in this neighborhood in October. We did this installation in August and it was hot, hot, hot. Cullen was out here in October working and it was even hotter and everything just survived beautifully. Things are starting to take off. They're starting to fill in. You know, like this Senecio serpens is such a fantastic color, but it is going to get leggy and I'm going to have to make decisions about it. But look at that little Liliaceae echeveria underneath. That's sort of sweet and cute, isn't it? And remember, when you're planting out areas, to make sure that you break up with little rock. This is called rubble. And that's the spawn of Satan. Sorry, neighbor. This is rubble. It's honey quartz. And this just really, really helps to tuck it in as you go along. And it gives the eye somewhere to rest. And it just sort of ties your arrangement together. Look at this gorgeous rock that we stood up right there. How nice that looks. The gutters are looking spectacular. Client hasn't had to do much with them yet. About once a year, you know, they need to be attacked, but they are looking great. Gutters do best with morning sun and afternoon shade. I used 3 Kalanchoe bracteus in this garden because I would have used more because this is such a beautiful blue leaf, but this is kind of a persnickety plant and I never know. It loves it here. Look at its orange flowers. Now, when you have dieback like this on a plant, just trim it out. No big deal. You can tell it's dead because it's crunchy. So you can just trim that out, trim that back. But yeah, I'm gonna have Hannah just show you how things have grown. Remember, it's been 6 months. You can see that Senecio serpens is starting to get leggy. The pots that we did, the Talavera pots, are absolutely gorgeous. And we planted Petalanthus bracteus behind the water feature. And it looks a little ratty right now. It's not really thirsty, it's just unhappy. This is a plant that really loves the heat and the sun. And we've had some chilly nights. So it's gonna make a comeback once the weather warms up a bit. Oh my gosh, this is just so, so gorgeous. This combo of plants right here has just knitted together so beautifully. And the plants in the corner, the Portulacaria and the Crassula and the Kalanchoe. I mean, nothing unusual or rare here, just common plants used in uncommon ways. You can see over on this side, we've got a little more protection, a little more shade. So I've got the Mangave jaguars in here. This is a little persimmon tree. This client has got loves food, so there are many both stone and citrus trees planted throughout the space. These are a couple of more stone fruits here, and also her trees, I didn't plant the trees. Whoever did planted them way too close to the wall, so she had an arborist come in and move them a couple of months ago. So this is kind of wonky in here. Part of what we're going to do tomorrow is put it back together right, because they had to take all the plants out and then they didn't remember where to put them, and this is yikes. No, how funny. So we'll fix this tomorrow. But you guys, take a look at the lemon. I could smell it from the other side. Oh my gosh, this is an improved Meyer lemon, and it is just happy as a clam there. How fun. I think I'm going to take one of these home with me. So, this has been Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity, reporting from 4S Ranch with day 2 and your succulent tip of the day. Bye, guys.